5 poems by Mitchell Krockmalnik Grabois. 1. A new tent. I need a new tent, one that won't let rain pour through the roof and puddles seep through the floor. I need a new tent, one that won't allow an Everglades python to pull the door zipper down with his tongue and invite in 10,000 ravenous mosquitoes. One that won't let the noise of 100 RV generators break my sleep. A fine, high-tech shelter that will muffle drunken partiers when they scream curses into the night or break bottles against the trunk of my Kia. I need a new tent. It could be a Eureka, a Coleman, a Kelty, but it has to be one that will keep my wife from fleeing in despair, taking the car and driving 4 states away. I need a new tent. 2. House key. I buried my house key in my yard, but then couldn't find it. I thought it was under the brown rock, then maybe under the gray rock with flecks of iron pyrite. Maybe the succulents spread further than I realized and obscured the key's resting spot. Or maybe a squirrel dug it up and used it to lock up its acorns or to lock up a little dog. Maybe that squirrel has a confederate. I've seen them running across the top of my fence. Maybe they have that doggie locked up and are performing grievous interspecies sexual perversions on her. All day long my girlfriend walks around the neighborhood yelling, "Frida, Frida." She named the dog after Frida Kahlo because she was born with an abnormality of the spine. "Frida," she yells, more desperate every day, while Frida is terrified. Trapped in the hole in the tree trunk the squirrels have enlarged for their diabolical prison. Meanwhile, I still can't find my key. And one more night, I'm going to sleep in my shed with my lawnmower and the old Huffy bike I once bought at Kmart for $79. 3. No underwater photography. The sign at the exit to the men's locker room reads, "No underwater photography." I feel stymied because the most beautiful girl in the world swims in the next lane. Every day she's there, swimming twice as fast as me, her narrow limbs propelling her slim body through the lightly chlorinated water, while my underwater camera remains in my locker. I've thought of hiding it in my suit, but I wouldn't have the nerve to pull it out. I've thought of a miniaturized camera, the fruits of nanotechnology, but I can't afford it. All I can do is swim, and cast sidelong glances through the water, and imagine she is a mermaid, and I am a shipwrecked sailor, washed unconscious on the shore until she saves me by giving me loving CPR. 4. Key. I threw away the key and stumbled off. My conscious mind didn't know where I was headed. My subconscious may have known a great deal. I didn't even know what key that had been. My house key? Or a house key from 5 moves ago, or maybe the key to my mother's house, or one that unlocks a lockbox holding nothing of value. I had finally mastered the art of letting go. I had even let go of letting go. I was ready to hold on again. That key may have sat in a stream of sludge running down the channels of a sewer. It may have been in the twisted trash of a landfill. It may have been waiting for a refugee to pick it up, to be grasped between his fingers as he tries 1,000 locks. 5. Krylov to Feleshti. Krylov, the frying pan, the famous magician, drops out of sight. Boards a train for his ancestral village, Feleshti, Moldova, which may or may not exist anymore. He'll wait to get there to find out. Most of his relatives were murdered. That was his initial impetus, to take up magic when he was still a boy. He thought, if I make myself invisible, no one can kill me. But then he realized, unless they spray machine gun bullets, unless they cloud the area with mustard gas, unless they drop a 500-pound bomb, and so on. Still, he persevered in his magic, haunted cafes in Kiev, performed in all the great capitals in Europe. And finally, in a peaceful period, which is to say a gasp in the ceaseless war and torment which is the history of mankind, he decided to go back to Feleshti to see if he could find a hoe that belonged to his great-grandfather. The old man spent more time leaning on it than hoeing. Mitchell Krockmalnik Grabois has had over 1,200 of his poems and fictions appear in literary magazines in the U.S. and abroad. He has been nominated for numerous prizes. His novel, Two-Headed Dog, based on his work as a clinical psychologist in a state hospital, is available for Kindle and Nook or as a print edition. To see more of his work, Google Mitchell Krockmalnik Grabois. He lives in Denver. The music in this episode is by Sealand. You can find more of their work, including their album Dark Days, at sealand.bandcamp.com.